In 2026, the Social Security earnings limits are rising once again, and this change will directly affect millions of working spouses and widows who collect spousal benefits or survivor benefits before reaching full retirement age. The new thresholds, $24,480 for those under full retirement age all year, and $65,160 in the year you reach full retirement age, may look generous at first, but even going $1 over these limits can temporarily reduce or pause your monthly Social Security deposits. Many people do not learn about these rules until after the fact, when surprise letters from Social Security tell them their benefits are being withheld. This video is designed to walk you through these rules clearly so you can plan ahead, protect your checks, and avoid unnecessary stress. You're watching Social Security Post, where we break down complicated Social Security rules in simple, clear language. If you find value in this information, please hit like and subscribe, and make sure to turn on notifications because 2026 is bringing big changes for retirees, spouses, widows, and disabled workers. I encourage you to leave any question you have in the comments below. Spousal benefits, survivor benefits, working while collecting, or full retirement age differences. Each situation is unique, and your question may help thousands of others watching this video. Let's start by breaking down the core rules of the 2026 earnings test, and then move into realistic step-by-step examples. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how much you can earn, how reductions work, what counts as income, and how Social Security eventually pays you back for any months withheld. The 2026 earnings test applies to anyone under full retirement age who works while receiving Social Security. This includes people receiving spousal benefits, which pay up to 50% of their living spouse's benefit, and people receiving survivor benefits, which can pay up to 100% of the deceased spouse's benefit depending on when they start. These limits are extremely important because they determine whether your monthly checks continue without interruption, are reduced, or are temporarily withheld. For 2026, the annual limit for those under full retirement age all year is $24,480, while the monthly equivalent is $2,040. If you earn above this amount, Social Security withholds $1 for every $2 you exceed the limit. For people reaching full retirement age in 2026, the rules change significantly. The earnings limit jumps to $65,160, with a monthly equivalent of $5,430, and the withholding formula becomes $1 for every $3 over the limit. This higher threshold is only applied to income earned before the month you reach full retirement age. Once you hit that month, the earnings test disappears completely, and you can earn any amount without affecting your Social Security checks. This is extremely important for widows who expect higher earnings during the year or who plan to delay reaching full retirement age until October, November, or December of 2026. One of the most misunderstood parts of the earnings test is that these withheld benefits are not lost permanently. Social Security keeps track of every month in which your benefits were reduced or withheld. Once you reach full retirement age, they recalculate your benefit and increase it to give you credit for those months. The earnings test is not a penalty, not a tax, and not a permanent reduction. It's a temporary adjustment based on your earnings while under full retirement age. Understanding this foundation is critical before diving into real-life scenarios in the next sections. For spousal benefits, your own earnings are the key factor, not your spouse's. If you are receiving a spousal benefit, typically up to 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount while they're alive, your work income is what triggers the earnings test. Your spouse's earnings, pensions, or retirement income do not affect your spousal payments under this rule. This is important because many couples mistakenly assume that the primary worker's earnings could reduce the dependent spouse's benefit, but this is not the case. The earnings test only follows the person who is collecting the benefit. For survivor benefits, the rules apply a little differently but still follow the same basic structure. The widow or widower's earnings determine whether their survivor benefit is reduced. Survivor benefits can begin as early as age 60 or even 50 if disabled, but these early claims come with permanent reductions. Importantly, for earnings test purposes, Social Security uses the retirement full retirement age. 67, not the slightly earlier survivor full retirement age. This means if your survivor full retirement age is months earlier than your retirement FRA, you still must follow the same earnings limits as retirement-based beneficiaries until you reach the higher retirement FRA. Another important feature is how Social Security decides what portion of your total payment to withhold when you're receiving more than one benefit. For example, someone receiving their own retirement benefit plus a survivor top-up will see reductions applied to their total benefit amount until the required withholding amount is satisfied. The system does not allow you to choose which checks are withheld. It automatically applies withholding based on the total monthly amount due. Understanding this ensures spouses and widows aren't blindsided when their deposit drops suddenly. Let's look at a practical example involving a spouse under full retirement age for all of 2026. Suppose Maria is 63 and receives a spousal benefit of $900 per month, totaling $10,800 per year. She works part-time and earns $30,000 in wages during 2026. Since the earnings limit is $24,480, her excess earnings total $5,520. Under the rule of $1 withheld for every $2 over the limit, Social Security must withhold $2,760 from her spousal benefits. This equals about 3 full months of withheld payments. Social Security typically begins withholding at the start of the year, so Maria may see no check in January, February, and part of March. Now consider a second example involving someone who earns far more than the limit. John, age 62, starts collecting a reduced spousal benefit of $700 per month, totaling $8,400 per year. But he earns $50,000 in wages. His excess earnings are $25,520, meaning Social Security must withhold $12,760 from his spousal benefits. Since his total annual benefit is only $8,400, all of his checks for the year will be withheld. Even after giving up the entire year's benefits, the withholding formula still won't be satisfied, meaning the remainder will be reconciled later when his earnings for the year are finalized with Social Security. There's also the important first-year special rule, which can save people thousands of dollars. If 2026 is the first year you stop working or reduce your hours significantly, Social Security may apply a monthly limit of $2,040 instead of the annual limit. This means if you stay under the monthly limit in certain months, you can still receive full benefits for those months, even if your annual earnings exceed the yearly limit. This rule is extremely helpful for spouses and widows transitioning from full employment to retirement mid-year. The year you reach full retirement age comes with a major change to how the earnings test works. Instead of the lower under FRA limit of $24,480, the threshold rises dramatically to $65,160. This applies only to earnings before the month you reach FRA. Let's consider Linda, a widow turning 67 in October 2026. She receives a survivor benefit of $1,600 per month, totaling $19,200 per year. If she earns $70,000 in wages during 2026, and if that income is all earned before her FRA month, her excess earnings are $4,840 over the FRA year limit. Under the FRA year withholding formula of $1 for every $3 over the limit, Social Security would withhold about $1,613 from her 2026 survivor benefits. At $1,600 per month, that equals almost exactly 1 full month of missed benefits. Social Security will usually withhold 1 month of benefits early in the year and then resume regular payments once the required withholding is satisfied. This shows how much more generous the FRA year threshold is, and how many widows may be able to work without losing most of their checks. Once Linda reaches full retirement age in October, everything changes. The earnings test disappears entirely, and she can earn any amount, even six figures, with zero impact on her survivor benefit. This can be a strategic planning opportunity. Many widows and spouses choose to delay claiming benefits until they reach the FRA year, or until after they reach FRA to avoid losing months of checks. For high-earning widows in particular, understanding the difference between the under FRA limit and the FRA year limit can save thousands of dollars. The earnings test applies only to earned income, which includes wages from employment and net earnings from self-employment. This encompasses hourly pay, salaries, commissions, bonuses, and certain vacation or overtime payments tied to work performed while you're receiving Social Security. It also includes most payments from self-employment when profit is realized during the year. Many people mistakenly believe all income is counted, but the earnings test is strictly tied to what you earn by working, not what you receive from savings or investments. What does not count against the earnings limit is equally important. Withdrawals from IRA or 401k accounts, pension payments, dividends, interest, capital gains, rental income, unless it's self-employment, VA benefits, and private disability benefits do not count toward the 2026 limits. This means someone could withdraw $100,000 from an IRA in 2026 and still receive their full spousal or survivor benefits as long as they have no wages or self-employment income above the limit. This is a crucial clarification because many seniors believe their retirement withdrawals will reduce their Social Security. This is incorrect. There are also timing rules, especially for bonuses, severance, or unused vacation payouts. If these payments are based on work performed before you started receiving Social Security, they may not count toward the earnings limit once you're entitled to benefits. For self-employed individuals, income is generally counted when it is earned and received, but special exceptions apply during the first year of entitlement. These distinctions can dramatically affect whether someone loses benefits during the year, so understanding what is counted and what isn't is critical for proper planning. The most reassuring part of the earnings test is that benefits withheld are not lost. Once you reach full retirement age, Social Security conducts a recalculation and increases your monthly benefit to credit back the months your benefits were fully or partially withheld. This means your future checks will be permanently higher for the rest of your life. While you may lose cash flow in the short term, you do not lose the actual long-term value of the benefit. This recalculation also applies to survivor benefits and to any spousal benefits withheld under the rules. Planning ahead is the key to avoiding unexpected benefit disruptions. If you expect to earn above the limit in 2026, you can proactively notify Social Security with your income estimate. This allows them to adjust your payments early in the year instead of surprising you with retroactive withholding later. If you underestimate your earnings, Social Security will reconcile the difference after receiving your W-2 or tax return. If you overestimate, they will refund any withheld amount. For people with variable income, such as seasonal workers or self-employed individuals, this simple step can prevent letters demanding large benefit repayments. Another strategy is using the first-year monthly test if 2026 is the year you transition into retirement. By keeping your monthly earnings under $2,040 in certain months, you may receive full benefits even if you exceed the annual limit. Finally, remember that even if your benefits are withheld, your Medicare premiums remain due. If Social Security cannot withhold them from your checks because your benefit is zero for a month, Medicare will send you a bill directly, so planning for those payments is essential. Thinking ahead can save you stress, surprise bills, and disrupted cash flow. Thanks for watching Social Security Post, and I'll see you in the next video.